In my last videos, I focused a lot about creations, about being the product of the God of this universe, who created human beings in His image and likeness. Therefore, with His qualities and capacities. In fact, we are all creators who kept creating new human beings. In this universe we live in, the leitmotif is creation. There is a constant movement of creation in creating new human beings, of course, but also new things, realizing, actualizing ideas. Art and science are the best witnesses of this capacity. Everything gets regenerated in the literal sense of the word, means generated again, regenerated, and therefore transformed. Heraclitus, the Greek philosopher, stated, Panta rei, everything moves, flows, and therefore transforms and is never the same as it was before or it will be after. And yet, although change, there is a certain continuity. This means that in spite of the constant dilution that we have gone through as living beings of the earth, still we carry within us some infinitesimal presence of that initial God. If you haven't listened to my previous videos, please do it because you will understand better this new audio I'm recording now. As I was explaining in my previous videos, it is like the yin and yang symbol, where in the space occupied by one of the two parts, there is always a dot, a little dot, representing the other part. It is that little dot which creates a disturbance, a stress that pushes that part to acquire a new balance, and this movement creates evolution. Although, when we have reached a new balance, there will appear almost immediately again the dot containing the energy of the opposite part. And this is the flow of evolution originated by the original God who put into creation this universe. But we can't refuse the idea that the earth, during this evolution from the original God through the lesser gods until now, with the humanity of today, which is the result of all this chain of creations, well, we can't refuse the idea that the earth may also be infiltrated or conquered by other creatures coming from other universes existing together with ours. We must understand that what we call void, emptiness, is not empty at all. Just because we see nothing, we hear nothing, we perceive nothing from the empty space, it doesn't mean that that space it is indeed empty. Once the humans couldn't see the microbes. Now, through microscopes, we can see microbes. In fact, the farther the science goes with its discoveries, the wider the awareness that we are surrounded by a multi-layer reality which we don't see because we don't have the specific tools to see them, to measure them, as they vibrate at a different rate. If you visualize a helix, you see how it is composed, and it is very clear, the image. But when the helix is in movement and rotates at a very high speed, we don't see its clear image anymore, but we just perceive a kind of a vortex in which nothing is very defined. Therefore, because what we don't see vibrates at another rate, we think there is nothing there. We are full of microbes. On our body, within our body, everywhere, but we don't see them. The very same thing happens with what we call the invisible reality, with other entities, other universes, other beings, creatures. We don't see them. And yet we may occupy the very same spot. We don't really disturb each other because we mainly don't perceive each other, although sometimes with very sensitive people it may happen. And I think from the other side it may happen as well. In the invisible reality there are not only things, let's call them things, which belong to this universe created by our original God, but also things which belong to other universes, which are not always resonating, but often they are disturbing each other and therefore creating that stress which allows the push towards a new evolution. In many ancient esoteric books we read that there is an enormous struggle going on between good and evil. Again, the stress caused by opposite forces in relationship, which causes evolution. In fact, it is as well in the ancient esoteric books that we read. Evil is always at the service of a greater good. Indeed, because it creates evolution. And the earth is the land of conquest. And both sides fight to conquer the earth. In this battle, both sides try to gain the human beings to their sides. They try to gain our trust, appearing to us in different ways. Through inner communication, ideas that they instill within us, or perceptions, intuitions, or even through visible appearances. And to do that, they choose the most suitable appearance that may resonate with the human they choose to appear to. In the 19th century, medianity was a very important matter. people discovered that some person had the capacity to incorporate entities. Mainly they were interested in mediums who incorporate dead persons, so the soul of the dead. But in many cultural salons, they were interested in knowing about the life beyond matter. There is a monumental work done by Allan Kardec, a French philosopher. I will write more information about him at the end of this audio video, where many spirits, many entities explain that in order to be trusted by the human being they want to talk to, they incorporate the figure of someone they trust. For instance, with Christian, they often incorporate the figure of Jesus, angels, Mary, and for the Catholics, perhaps some saint whom the person trusts. In India, they will appear as Shiva, Vishnu, or, if they are Buddhist, through the image of one of the different bodhisattvas, or Buddha himself. And this is, of course, a very intelligent choice. Today, the neuro-linguistic suggests us to adopt the same language, the same attitude, the same set of mind of our interlocutor, because in doing so, we are sure to be more accepted, especially if we want to influence that person. Therefore, many sellers adopt this kind of behavior that often is done in such a stupid way that you think they are mocking you. But instead, it is a very good strategy. The point is that we don't know, we have no way to prove that the entity who presents himself as Christ. I'm not saying that we have to check if he is really Christ, but we can't prove if that entity is a good or a bad entity. Incorporating that figure so that he or she may gain our trust. The Theosophical Society was founded in the 19th century. Very, very many esoteric movements were born in that period. And it was good because they translated the very difficult medieval esoteric books into a more comprehensible form. In the very many teachings they give to prepare the adept, the apprentice magician, they strongly advise the person to review their enthusiasm when they channel, for instance, Jesus Christ. And they explain that each master has a specific ray. They call it ray. It is their specific vibration. In the Theosophical Society, they refer to 7 main rays. Each of them is represented by a specific master. One of these is represented by Jesus Christ. Alice Bailey, the second president of the Theosophical Society, wrote an entire book about the 7 rays. Again, you find all the information about the specific topics I am talking about at the end of this audio video. If the channelers had a certain degree of evolution, they would perceive when someone presents himself or herself as a specific figure, important figure, but their vibration isn't at all aligned with the figure they assume when they present themselves. Unfortunately, the level of evolution is not at all high. Therefore, far too many channelers produce writings from their contact, which are really rubbish, and contribute to increase the general chaotic and also fake informations, teachings, which shadow their possible inner light.